to strap in and get ready. The leaders in NRL Supercoach are incoming. Bringing you the ultimate insight to help you win your leagues and climb up the rankings. You're now listening to the Insight NRL Show with your hosts, Brain, Metrics, and Whisperer.
G'day guys, welcome back. Round 3 is done. You're watching the Insight NRL Show. Did Ruben Garrick save your week? Yes, for me. Not quite for my friend over here. How you going, mate?
Mate, I'm looking at my league's leading section on Supercoach. At halftime of this game, even when the prick was on 96, I was leading 10 of 12. I'm now leading 2 of 12, and one of them started by 2 points, and it'll be pending updates. So I've just been absolutely shafted. A Seb Chris defensive masterclass, but mate, there wasn't actually I feel like a lot like Haas, Garrick, Hines has put paper over the cracks of a lot of people's teams because holy shit, this was a surefire stinker. I think on Wednesday we were talking about why the scores are so high this year. This is pure round 1 all over again.
Feels like it. Yeah, last year it took us ages to get going. I think I didn't hit 1,000 until round 4 last year. And obviously there's points galore this year with the man from Manly on the edge there we'll talk about later on today. But it's been a very, very up and down week. A lot of shitters, a lot of low scores, but also some big ones and some popular ones in Payne Haas being nearly the most traded in player this week. I think he was 25,000 teams traded him. Shout out to the 10 people that traded Payne Haas out because they didn't rate what they saw in the first 2 rounds. So yeah, you'd be absolutely reeling if you did that. But the VC on Payne Haas, funnily enough, usually I'll never VC a front row forward just purely because I'm like, look, they're not going to put up 120. And I think exact message that I sent to a sponsor of the show, Mr. Ryan Hammond, was he was saying, I'm going to go VC Haas. And I'm like, oh man, the upside, he'll get you 100, 110, but is that going to be enough to loop? And then he busts out a 140. How good. But fuck, he was awesome. Yeah,
I'm always okay with captaining Haas, never VCing. I saw him being VC'd by a fair few people on Twitter, and I was like, what are we doing here? Are we really taking an 85 loop? But boy, he's unreal. He had 105 BP, try, line break, 4,000 tackle busts. He's just him. Mate, he's like a new... People are like, oh, what's changed for Haas? I think it's just a new role. Like Maguire's just getting him to hit small men on the edge and just rip them apart, which is unreal for Supercoach.
Yeah, that's right. I think Carrigan's definitely helped as well in that respect. Take the first up, kind of hit ups on the first tackle, kind of boring stuff up the middle, and then it gives Payne Haas a little bit of flexibility on the edges there. But yeah, they're rolling at the moment up through the middle, so full credit to Madge and what he's been able to do there. And we'll be talking about a few of the Broncos that were very popular buys a little bit later on, mate. But let's get we'll try something new. We've had a bit of feedback, a lot of people asking for us to get points on the screen. So what we'll do is we'll bring them up. We haven't gone with the why is it not one? There you are. We haven't gone with the traditional Supercoach website because it isn't exactly the easiest to look at when you share a screen. But we've gone with NRLSupercoachLive.com. Probably one of my more favorite websites to follow the scores, Josh, rather than the actual Supercoach website itself.
Yeah, I have this opened pretty much from 8 o'clock Thursday, and it doesn't stay closed until about 10:30 on a Sunday night. So it's a staple of my browsing experience on the old PC. But as we can see here, the what are they called? The Storm. They get it done 30-24. We do see a top score on the Panther side of things with Brian Toto with 105, 102 from Alamotti. Funnily enough, mate, I was sitting here at about halftime of this game being like, fuck me, Brian Toto's fallen off from a Supercoach standpoint. We need to talk about the fall off of Brian Toto, and I was going to tweet it. But I think I had my Deliveroo driver come to my house and I just forgot to press tweet at halftime. And fuck me, I'm glad I didn't because it would have went down really well. But 105 to 102 for Alamotti, 91 for Thomas Jenkins. Should have been Dane Laurie, but we live and we learn. All three of those guys probably a little bit uneventful. Lindsay Smith had a bit of hype in the preseason, 76 from him. I think he had a really good score in Vegas when there might have been a HIA. But backed it up with another good score. But apart from that, mate, not a whole lot. We do see cheapy Casey McLean cheapy Jesse McLean didn't play. Casey McLean with a 66, but pretty uneventful, mate. Not really much to talk about from the Panthers until you scroll all the way down the bottom to a single digit score from N Cleary And this one set the Supercoach world into a frenzy. It was divided, wasn't it, mate? It was Cleary owners all sort of holding themselves and trying to keep themselves together, and the non-Cleary owners being smug as anything.
Oh, a lot of copium floating around for Cleary owners, and a lot of bragging going around for, anybody that wasn't a Cleary owner, yourself included. I think, you come out on top with Nicho Hynes this week, putting up a 113. We'll talk about him later. But Casey McLean with the 24 on his back. Shout out to the Panthers kit crew over there who forgot to take the number 2 jersey to Melbourne for this game. So Casey McLean had to wear the 24, which I found quite funny. But there was rumor that he was going to drop out of the team too. So, putting out a 66 this week, I guess it creates question marks as to whether he's going to be there next week. If the plan, obviously, if Dane Laurie was actually going to be fit, maybe the plan was Dane Laurie fullback, Jenkins comes onto the wing, but they had to pivot late because Dane Laurie was out with a quad complaint. So, yeah, interesting to see how that all plays out. But, mate, Isaiah Yeo with the 56 as well, probably a talking point to a certain extent.
Yeah. I feel like he's put his 2 worst scores I can ever think of back to back. When you sit there and you pay $780K for Isaiah Yeo in the preseason, like we described it as missionary sex, like it gets the job done, but this isn't even getting the job done. This is like, when you're a 16, 17-year-old kid and you're just trying to, get one out, it's just not happening, is it? Like it's a struggle fest, and it's just not working for Isaiah Yeo. I'm never ever going to sell him, but I'll tell you what, it's it's pretty brutal because he's been the most consistent player for years gone by, and he's facing 131 break even, approximately going to lose around 48K this week. But let's talk Cleary, mate. 147 break even, going to lose 90K this week. Misses next week with the 11-day stand down. What are you doing? What are you doing? Because you're a Cleary. I'm not. So, I mean, all week I said my trades are planned around bringing Cleary in next week. I've sacrificed on Marju, which thankfully fucking worked out this week. I've kept money in reserve to get Cleary next week, and now he's out. I don't have to worry about that. But what are you doing, Matt, as an owner? Because you don't lose what you don't sell, but it's hard to look at him at 620, 630K in your squad.
Yeah. Look, I mean, you're right. If you don't lose money if you don't sell. We've got Nathan Cleary coming up to Origin period as well. Obviously, that creates question marks as to whether he's going to regain that cash by then, because for the most part, he probably is a sell during that period. I'm always a pretty big advocate of trading out not injury riddled players, but players that always have a risk of injury during that Origin period, because we see them rest more often than the players that don't. So, yeah, there's a lot of question marks. I think I'm probably just going to hold for 2 weeks. I do have the option to move Metcalf to halfback and bring in a 5'8" if I really wanted to go down that route. Like Jaden Campbell was fantastic this week. He could be a pod play. But for me, there's going to be a fuckload of Nathan Cleary to Nicho Hynes next week, isn't there? I think that's probably going to be one of the most biggest trades.
I'm getting this question a lot. I don't know why people think I traded out Garrick. I never started with him. I don't know why people think I just want to address it because I got it on Twitter a few times today. I got it on Instagram as well. I didn't sell Garrick because I didn't own the guy. It's just annoying, but I didn't own him. But that's pretty much it for the Panthers. Let's, I guess, move onto the Storm. Pretty average game by the Storm standard. They scored 30 points, but no one scored over 80 points. Only one person scored over 70. So it was a bit of a mixed bag. Eli Katoa with a 77. I'll skip over Pappy because I'm sure we're going to have a pretty lengthy chat about him. Munster with a 61. Hughes with a 59. But there's an absolute fraud by the name of Harry Grant, 26. What's going on? I decided to pay nearly 700K for the most boring position, and the bloke's just doing nothing. He's more concerned about trying to pull a penalty. I can't sell him, but fuck me. I am getting very, very sick and tired of Harry Grant.
Yeah, look, that's one that I'm happy about that I didn't go with to start. But again, like I don't backtrack on the fact that he's the best hooker in the game, even in Supercoach. But I think what we've seen in the first 2 games is him probably get a bit carried away defensively, looking for penalties, looking to milk penalties, even with the ball in his hand. But to be fair, the Storm in the first 2 games have shifted the ball very quickly to the edges. So Harry Grant hasn't really had that kind of role where they've had that roll up the middle with Nas and that kind of stuff. So it's a very different game. And obviously Supercoach doesn't really reward him for passing the ball nicely to his halfback, sadly.
I don't know if it's copium. Comments, please tell me if it is. But round 1, they just ripped Parramatta apart and they sent it wide. round 3, Penrith are very good at slowing down the ruck. So Harry Grant, we know that he gets his roll on by quick play the ball. So I don't know if it's copium by me, but I just don't think the first 2 games suited him. In hindsight, probably shouldn't have started with him. But hey, you live and you learn. Stefano Toikamanu, mate, 36. Maybe the rotation is just not there.
I don't know, honestly. I haven't seen enough from him for me to even think about him as an option at the moment. It's strange, isn't it? Obviously we were really high on Stefano through the preseason, and I guess it comes down to the Storm probably not using their props in a way that is Supercoach friendly or relevant. We haven't seen it a ton in the past, so I don't know. I definitely, if I had him now, I'd probably consider moving him on before we see too much of a price drop. Obviously, thankfully next week, because of the Storm's round 2 bye, we can bail or buy these Storm assets now. There'll be a few that are very popular as of next week, that's for sure. But Stefano to a performing prop, there's too many to pick from. You probably have to pick one.
Mate, it's stack the pack again. It's 2015 all over again. We can just go heavy in the middle. There's Haas, there's Tino, there's Adam Fanua-Blake, there's Corey Horsburgh, there's somehow Nafahu White. There's so many people that we can pick from in the middle. But let's have a bit of a chat about one Ryan Papenhuyzen. And the only reason we are discussing him is because of that fractured jaw to Nick Meaney. Looks like he's going to be sidelined for around 6 weeks, and that means one thing: we get goal kicking Pappy back, which is one of the most sexual things I can think of in Supercoach. We run into the Dragons, Manly, the Warriors, the Dolphins, the Bunnies, the Raiders, the Tigers, the Sharks into the bye. It's a pretty good run. He didn't score the best this week. Look, I think the days of 2020, 2021 Pap are dead. I think that the days of a 90 average are gone. However, we are buying him for... 616K for a goal-kicking fullback from the Melbourne Storm. I'm not going to say must-have because there's a couple of guys I am eyeing off. I mean, we're looking at Matty Nicholson, we're looking at Tino. They're going to take 2 of my trades and probably 2 of many people's trades. But it's very hard to pass up goal-kicking Papenhuyzen, isn't it?
Oh, 100%. As soon as I saw Nick Meaney go down, first of all, I'm not celebrating an injury like some people like to claim on Twitter.
Fucking unbearable this weekend. Fuck me.
Yeah, the internet was tough this week.
As it always
is.
But
thankfully, we've got a really good group of people in the WhatsApp. So that's where I spend the majority of my time these days. But look, when you get Ryan Papenhuyzen kicking goals, we were potentially going to buy him when he wasn't kicking goals. He was still going to be a genuine consideration next week, regardless of whether he was kicking goals or not. Now he becomes an absolute must-have from next week. There was a concern, though, in the post-match press conference with Craig Bellamy saying that he had an ankle concern. Does that worry you a little bit? Because it's the same ankle that he had, I think, plates and screws in as well.
Yeah. I mean, yes, it does. I think the quote was crook ankle, which thanks for giving us fucking heaps of info, Bellamy, you scallywag. But, I think I still take the gamble. In saying that, there's a centre/winger from Parramatta, which I might have to backtrack on a little bit. He's also tempting me. If he's going to be averaging 30 fucking hit-ups a game, and of course. But we'll...
Good to see Matrix in the chat here. Is Pappy the highest averaging Storm player yet? I don't know. I'm not going to...
I think it's super convenient that Matrix just disappears to the other side of the world when he's categorically the bottom of all 3 of our scores. So it is what it is. But, hey, we take what we can.
He can face the music on Tuesday. He'll be back on Tuesday for the subscriber show, and then Wednesday. So yeah, he can talk to us about how his week's been then.
But that's about it, mate. That's about it from this game. Not a huge amount of talking points. If you have Meaney, then he's a sell. Unfortunately, what do we think of Munster? Because 61, I feel like this was a Cleary versus Sharks game in Vegas. I feel like he scored way more than 61. Are we concerned at all? Or is this just Munster?
Oh, look, I mean, I'm never going to be upset with a 60 plus. That's not an issue. It's the 3 try assists and the 21 tackles to only get 61. That's probably where the concern is for me. 3 try assists and no line break assists is probably also going to be denting his score a little bit. Normally we'd see him put someone through a hole. So yeah, all off when you kick all off kicks, then that's probably where the lack of scoring comes from. But no, still a great option. Still going to be a guy that's going to be popular bought next week if you're sick of Lukey Metcalf, who we'll talk about. Actually, probably a good segue.
Yeah, let's chat Lukey Metcalf because the Warriors get the job done 14-6 over the Roosters. We see Charles Nickel-Klukstar with 115 from fullback. Your boy, Aui Leatawa with a 95. Shout out to him. Then a whole lot of nothing. No one above 60. Mitch Barnett, 50. I think that dream's pretty much all but dead. We'll chat RTS. Looks like it's a hamstring, but shout out to RTS. Did his hammy, got back into the defensive line, stopped a try, went off. What a guy.
Yeah, that's what you want to see, and that's what you'd expect from RTS. Just a, all-round good bloke, but gives 110% for his team. But it is sad that we'll be missing him for a little bit at least. Have we seen the severity of that hamstring injury yet?
Billy Slater said 2 weeks on some NRL show, but I think physio is more on the 3 to 4.
Yeah, we'll wait. Yeah, okay. If it's a grade 2, it'll probably be anywhere between 2 to 4 weeks. But
does Dimitri Valmalga have the biggest branded cell across his forehead that you've ever seen?
I mean, if you listened to the buy, hold, and sell last week, you would have seen that he's a very strong sell on my behalf. Sadly, yes. He's getting exactly what you paid for, and you paid minimum dollar, or nearly minimum dollar. So yeah, sad, but
yeah,
definitely
you are losing money this week. So shout out to him. But yeah, let's talk about Lukey Metcalf because he's averaging 50 this year, mate. But it's a very Terrell May 50, isn't it, from last year?
Yes, sadly. Look, let me tell you how many people reposted or re-commented on the post I put up last week about the 13,000 people that sold. I reckon that post popped off and nearly doubled its reach again this week after everybody came back for me. But look, for good reason. He definitely did not look good in this game. In round one, we're happy to pass it off as the big lights in Vegas, first game in the 7, fair bit of pressure on his back. Game 2, he looked great. Game 3, back to kind of how he looked in game 1. So there's no consistency, and I can't really get a good take on this Warriors team at the moment because, they won, but fuck me. If I didn't look at the score and I just went off what I was watching, I would have thought that the Roosters were probably going to be even in that game. So I don't know. And also shout out to the people that are knocking Charles Nickel-Klukstar on the internet because everyone was up his ass and he was the best player on the field by a country mile the other night. So I don't understand where the hate is for seeing.
I don't know what more a player could do. 2 try assists, a line break, 2 line break assists, 7 tackle busts, 30 hit ups.
Animal. What
more is we're not talking Supercoach here, but people just bagging him as a footy player. Fuck me. What more is a bloke to do? But
nothing.
on Lukey Met, he's gonna have a break even of 5. So I'm not selling him.
Nah.
However, his time may be limited. There is a game against the West Tigers at Campbelltown Stadium, which you and I will be in attendance for and deleting many a beer on I believe is it Friday night.
Matrix has put it pretty well here in the chat, deleting 300 beers. I don't know whether we can get through 300 like Matrix would.
We do have to record pretty much straight after that. So
that night we do too.
Might not be on the cards, but we'll be deleting a few. But then it's a buy in round 5 into the Storm, into the Broncos. I think round 5 might be a pretty good point to jump off.
Yeah. I mean, you get your cash one more week this week and say goodbye to Lukey Met, sadly. The buy solidifies that for us. If you had one more decent matchup, you can get away with it. But we also need to remember that 113 drops out of his rolling average after next week too. So if he scores poorly again, then we're going to be in all sorts trying to get him out.
Old JC's got a break even of 62. If he scores 70, fuck it. It's pretty obvious the move, I think, to find the cash go from Metcalf to JC, Metcalf to Munster, Metcalf to Galvin. There's a couple of options to go to. I mean, even Dylan Brown, he's not playing well, but he's still putting up scores. So there is options to go to. Or even moving down to a Chanel Harris-Tavita. He scored a 50, but I think he's priced a 33. So he's definitely an option there. But yeah, Luke Metcalf will be featuring in our buy, hold, and sell. In probably around 5, mate. But for the Chookies, not a whole lot to talk about. They scored a whopping 6 points, so shout out to them. But was top scored by Nafahu White, who is highlighted in grey on my screen, which is not great. Toston turned out playing him or Toya. And, as you can see by my score, didn't play Nafahu White.
I did not play Nafahu White either, sadly. But it is great as an owner to have that score in his rolling average for 3 weeks. So, yeah, I'm going to take the cash. He played 50 odd minutes as well, 57 minutes in this game. So yeah, that's huge. That's way more than I expected. And obviously with Lindsay Collins a late out in this game. We know that he's probably going to come back in and White's minutes will drop back down into the 40s. But when it's a bit of a gravy train for Naf White, isn't it? As long as we're making cash, he's fine. You can leave him on your bench as a 2RF4. And when the gravy train comes in and rolls on, then we just get off and upgrade him to hopefully someone half decent.
Yep, so he should be about 410k this week with a break even of -4. The gravy train lives on, especially for another 2 or 3 weeks. So I'm very, very happy to take that. Tedesco is going to lose about 60k. Dom Young's going to lose about 60k. Both those guys have monstrous break evens. But it's Angus Crichton I'm really looking at. 93 break even this week. Next week. Loses another 50k. He's putting up good scores with no attack. I think when that attack comes, he's a guy that I'm quite keen on buying. But apart from that, mate, not a whole lot to talk about. Sandon Smith with a 20. Like, he's just a guy I'm just going to ride out. Like, I'll wait for one good score. So I'm hoping to get like another 60 or 70 from him, and I'll ride that out until probably like around 7 or around 8. Move him on as well. But yeah, that's about it. Connor Watson, it's a weird one, mate. So Cat 2, but failed his HIA, which means 11-day stand down, but is eligible to apply for exemption. So it's one of those weird ones where if it was a Cat 1, it's automatic 11-day. If it was a Cat 2, he passed the HIA, he can come back and play next week. But it was a Cat 2 and failed the HIA, so will be stood down for 11 days. However, can apply for exemption if he has completed concussion protocol. I'm not really too fussed on selling Connor Watson if I owned him, even if he was out next week. Yeah, no,
if you own him, you just got to cop the fact that you're going to have a few DNPs next week if you're a Dylan Lucas owner that you held this week. If you held, Turbo's a guaranteed starter, so we say, but I don't know whether you can ever say that about Turbo as a guaranteed starter when he's holding an injury. But yeah, there's a few guys that went down this week. So yeah, I definitely hold Connor Watson for this week, knowing that he'll be back. At least he'll be back the following week. I think there's only been like 2 or 3 players in the last couple of years that have actually successfully had that exemption come through. So look, we'll see. We'll keep an eye out on the news coming forward. But the only thing I'll say on Angus Crichton is that with the Roosters playing all 3 major buys for 12, 15 and 18 this year, obviously he's going to be playing Origin. There's no question marks around that. But the Roosters also have a couple of mini round buys through the year, which means that Angus Crichton could miss like fucking at 5 of 8 rounds through that period, which doesn't make him an appealing buy. But it's too early in the season to start planning for buys. Like he can hurt you up until that point when he gets it right. So just something to keep in mind coming into the buy period.
Yeah, I am seeing a few people in like our WhatsApp and stuff like mention that. They're like, oh, I got to trade out this player because they have Origin coming up. Like, we're fucking 3 weeks in. Like, nothing really has changed too much. Moving on to the 4X Derby, the Carl Webb Trophy, I believe it's named as.
Yeah.
Broncos 26, bit of a scare over the Cowboys 16. This one was all about one man and one man only. And it wasn't John Bateman, unfortunately. It was Payne Haas, 140 points, 105 BP. He is a fucking machine.
Insane, isn't it? Like, made me eat my words in this one by not having a high ceiling. And mind you, like his highest score before this was like 107 or something like that. So like for him to bust out 140 and do it that easily just shows how much of a different player he is and how successful they're using him this year. So if you faded this week, I get it. He was 669K. Yeah, maybe we looked at him going, he can't keep up these 90s and these 100s, and of course he can't. But I tell you what, there's every chance he's going to be averaging more than 80 at the end of the year if they keep this up. So if you miss the price rise this week, he's going to be about, 770K or something like that. Would you still buy him this coming week, knowing that he's probably going to make more cash?
So he is going to go up 101K and with a break even of 13. So, yes, I'm still paying that to get him in. And the reason for that is 72 minutes in the middle. That is fucking unreal. 1 try, 2 line breaks, 4 effective offloads, 5 total offloads, 22 hit-ups, 28 tackles for a prop forward.
It's fucking nuts. And Michael in the chat, Haas still on Ramadan. Wait until he eats. The stats say that he performs better through Ramadan, doesn't it? Yeah.
He actually improves by about 10%, which is insane. But in this new role, it's actually cooked. Like I was talking to my dad, who's not like well versed in like Muslimism or like the Muslim culture. I was explaining to him what Ramadan is, and he's like, "What the fuck?" And I was like, "Yeah, like this bloke's not eating, not drinking from sun up to sundown, and just being the best of all time." I said it on the podcast a couple weeks ago. He's the best of all time, and people still against that. I don't know how. Like he moves so well. Like 2-line break. He nearly had 2 tries. He like barnstormed. I think he got held up like a meter over the line, like before the line, earlier in the game as well. So he is unreal. I capped him in fantasy, mate. 102 points in fantasy is about 300 points in Supercoach. So it's absolutely world class, and I might become a professional fantasy player moving forward. But other people from the Broncos, Adam Reynolds, 120. Shout out to him. Pat Carrigan with a 63. A couple of other Supercoach guys we'll touch on soon, but Reece Walsh with a 55. Very, very up and down game for him. But that's sort of probably it. I mean, I own Selwyn Cobbo, but he's like 3% owned, so no point talking about him. But let's talk about your boy, your favorite Japanese rugby player of all time, Garrett Shibasaki. 60 points from him. I think he's not. When Stags is back next week, I don't think it's him being dropped.
No way. Like, obviously they started with him this year because obviously Madge is a very defensive-minded coach, right? So they're looking to kind of remove the Dean Mariner effect that they had last year, where his defensive reads were costing them, anywhere between 12 to 18 points a game. So, like, I think unfortunately it will be Dean Mariner that drops out. Shibasaki owners shouldn't be worried too much. I'd be very, very surprised if Madge makes that move. But yeah, so my question to you is, I didn't get Shibasaki this week. I prioritized Arthur's. I got Starling, which I'm happy with. So, I prioritized the cash as well as Haas this week. Do I look at Shibasaki again, or are we looking? The problem becomes we've got Tino coming up on the bubble now. We've got all the Storm assets now. Pappenhausen. There was a question in the chat around prioritizing Pappy or Haas next week. Like,
yeah,
what direction are you going? Is it now a fact that we've probably missed Shibasaki, and we just have to accept the fact that we've gone a different direction?
I think for you guys that don't have Shibasaki, you probably have Purdue, so that's fine. They probably cancel each other out, which is like that's fine. Like Tamale showed today that he's probably not a playable center wing for week in, week out. I don't think, like, I'm not keen to pay $300K for Shibasaki. He does have a break even of approximately positive 9 next week. But I'm still looking at targeting Jesse Arthurs, and let's touch on him because he still has a -12 break even. He'll go up about 120K this week, so he will still go up in price. Mate, he's going to be 550K before you know it, especially when he's still scoring all these tries. Like, it's just a gold mine, that left wing for the Broncos, and he's taking every advantage of it. Oh,
for sure. He was a really good purchase this week. Obviously, going to make some good cash, and he'll make some good cash again next week and probably the week after. So and whilst we've been very clear from the start, we're buying Jesse Arthurs, and he's not a keeper. He's not somebody that we're going to be able to keep in our teams long term, but he is a nice little stepping stone to getting to a fallen gun at center wing in the next probably month.
I tell you what, it might sound silly, but you can go Arthurs to Lucas in probably 5 or 6 weeks.
Yeah, which is nuts to think about, but that could be the play. Absolutely, considering Lucas is going to be out for, I think, up to 6 weeks was the word. So
yeah, and Lucas will come back on the bubble as well. So it's not even like he'll have a pretty low break even. So it's not even like he's a guy that's going to be out of reach. So yeah, Arthur's to Lucas could be on. Mate, for the Cowboys, not a whole lot to talk about here. Murray's Long with a 73, but Jackson Purdy with a 67. Thought he played quite well. Definitely his best game at center. He had a really, really good opening 30 minutes, sort of tapered a little bit. He had a try there to finish it out, but not a whole lot to talk about. I do think the days of Thomas Duffy are probably over. I probably think he's third choice now, behind Clifford at 1 and probably Purdue at 2. I thought the Cowboys played much better and just looked a little bit more threatening in attack. But yeah, it's probably all she wrote for Duffy.
You know what I'm really I don't like to prey on people's downfall that often, but I tell you what, just the John Bateman bullshit crocodile roll comment that he made to David Clemmer when he got signed to the Dragons. And then, we've been pretty open about the fact that John Bateman, he left the worst team in the comp to go to the worst team in the comp. And and I watched a couple of. I'm not a TikTok scroller. I'm not that guy. I'm usually on Instagram, but I was just scrolling TikTok this week. I just thought, I want to see what's on there. And there's this guy that was streaming. He's obviously a Cowboys fan, talking about why do we have John Bateman? He's shit. He needs to be out of the team. And I'm kind of enjoying that discourse a little bit.
No. Fuck Cowboys fans, because back in January, I was told multiple times how much of a fumble it was. And how much of an L? Another Tigers L, I think I was told. Typical Tigers L, giving up John Bateman. And shout out to him. I don't know how you can leave the Tigers and have your career go even lower. That's impressive.
Yeah, it's nearly like when we got the spoon and we said we can't get any lower, and then the Dolphins came in the comp and we got the spoon and came lower. So it feels like that for John Bateman. But it was just when he got drove back into that right corner and he tried to offload the ball 5 meters out from his line and the ball went out. That's just such a John Bateman play. So I'm really, I'm stoked. Just wanted to mention that.
The Supercoach downfall of Ruben Cotter?
What do you reckon it is? I mean, he got 50 and 57 minutes in this game. It was just all fucking base, really. It was quite boring. 38 tackles, 11 hit-ups. I mean,
what I think,
there's no attack.
Remember the year the Cowboys came like 4th or 5th? Right?
He was so good.
Everyone tipped him for the spoon that year. And they had like one outlier season. And then next year they had the exact same roster and everyone's like, oh, the Cowboys are going to come 4th again. And they came like 13th. And everyone's like, oh, well, how could this happen? I'm like, well, it's the exact same roster that you all said was going to come last. And nothing changed. And for me, I think it's just Ruben Cotter. Like I love Ruben Cotter as a Queenslander, but like I don't think he should be picked based off form. I know he tries really hard, but like if I'm picking on form, like his Supercoach downfall has been interesting, and I don't think he's been playing fantastic footy. But in saying that, I don't think Tom Dearden has helped this team at all. But
and 5 missed tackles is quite uncharacteristic for Ruben Cotter as well. Like he's usually pretty solid efficiently. So yeah, I agree on Tom Dearden. He's just not playing his best footy at the moment, but the Cowboys aren't in general. And I'm glad that Jackson Purdue was my hold of the week last week. I feel like I got a couple right last week. I'm starting to redeem myself from the 3 out of 10 brother preseason that I had. So hopefully
my sell from this week is still very much hinging on their matchup against Parramatta next week because I did say sell Turbo. And that will all be revealed next week. If he scores 140, then I might not be here. But we'll touch that.
You might go on a Matrix holiday, New Zealand.
Might book another timely cruise. You never know. Match the Sharkies 27 up against the Rabbitohs 12. This one highlighted by our boy, our glorious king, our Pookie, Nicholas Hines. Never ever in doubt. 113 points from him, mate. 109 points from Ronaldo. 97 from Braden Trindle. 85 from Kale Ero. And a whole lot of nothing. I mean, 61 from Adam Phil-Blake. 58 from Britton Nikora. I just want to highlight, Britton Nikora has scored every game, and I think he's scored 20 points more than Seyfarth this season.
Another tick in the box of Alex Seyfarth. Just throw that one in there before we glaze the fuck out of him when we talk about the Tigers.
Get those wheels up. But yeah, let's talk Sharkies. Nicho Hines. Well, as an owner, as a non-Cleary owner, I'm fucking on cloud 9. It's very funny to watch everyone scramble now and try and justify Nicho Hines being like, oh, no, he's a good pick, despite being told all preseason how shit he was. I mean, I can't claim the glory because I also said that he's a shit pick, but I somehow ended up with him. What are you thinking watching him? Because it's not convincing for me.
Look, that first half from him the other day was the closest we've seen to 2023 Nico. But in saying that, it still wasn't anywhere near what we're used to from him. Obviously, it's just Braden Trindle. That's all it is. It's Braden Trindle getting his hands on the ball way more than obviously when, what was his name?
Matt Moylan.
Matt Moylan. Obviously Matt Moylan was more than happy to take a back seat and let Nico just be the guy. And Trindle is not.
If this was the game, if Matt Moylan was the 6 here, Nico finished on like 180, 190. But in saying that, I feel like I've been fucking pretty hard here. Sam Stone Street dropped one cold over the line for a line break assist and try assist. So there's 20 points. And Kale Ero got fucking tackled by literally the bootlaces off a Nico short ball. This could have and should have been 150, 160, and I am filthy watching Ruben Garrick do it and ruin my week. But yeah, I think the ceiling is pretty much capped on Nico, and it sounds crazy. I don't think he's a trade-in.
Look, I probably tend to agree. I mean, people are going to we're going to get a million of these questions, so we can probably stamp this out right now. People are going to say, "What do I do with Nathan Cleary? Do I do Cleary to Nico next week?" I'd probably say no.
No.
Cleary,
I can tell you this as a Nico owner, no.
Cleary comes back and plays the Cowboys in his first game back, and I think that's a game you're going to want Cleary for. I know that you're probably unhappy that you don't have Cleary at that point. Would you consider buying him for that matchup when he's back?
I can't. Like, not now. Not with the 160 break even. Like, I think I'm probably just going to have to make my bed and sleep in it. The fact that I might not own Cleary until after Origin. In saying that, like, if shit happens next week and, like, I've got, like, 3 guns that are injured, and I can make some money, then, I'll have it there to try and wiggle him in. But I'm not going out of my way to buy him in 2 weeks' time, but you never know. Trigger Tritter with 97. He had a ball on the string, 240-20 is a field goal. Shout out to him. And Kale Ero, every week continues to show he is that much better than Zach Lomax. Shout out
And
to him. But
don't forget our boy Ronaldo Mulatalo with a 109 without a try. Without a try.
Oh, so
Like
everyone's gonna buy him this week, and Stone Street now will score 110, and Ronaldo will score 14.
Guaranteed. And that's the way it always went with Sione Katoa, wasn't it? So it's just the left-right wing battle, isn't it, at the Sharks? But yeah, he was solid. 2 try assists, 2 line breaks, 1 line break assist, and a try contribution for Ronaldo. So yeah, really good game for him. I didn't wear my Ronaldo shirt. I'm really annoyed about it.
I feel like Ange is always fucking here whenever Trindle has a good game, and he always reminds me about it, because I think there was one episode where I rinsed Trindle, and now he's elite. So shout out to Ange.
Ange, let you know.
Shout out to the dedication of hate watching me, hate watching Trindle. I can appreciate that. Not a whole lot to talk about here. Blake Bowie with cork on his quad. I'm not too concerned.
Can we... Sorry. So in NRL Supercoach Live, for people that haven't seen it, you'll see on the screen there I've highlighted Blake Brayley's score update. And on the right-hand side, you'll be able to see what they got and then what they got updated to. And it says Blake Brayley's score update, 58 down to 38. So they took the try assist and the line break assist off him. Yes. Which is just fucking criminal. And the one thing that pisses me off, I'm fine, whatever.
Hang on, didn't he get dudded in Vegas as well?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
But to be fair, the one in Vegas I can get around. That's fine. I think he was dudded in this one. But what I don't understand is he did not even get given a try contribution. They took the try assist off and the line break assist and go, you know what? He did nothing. How can you go from a try assist to nothing? I don't understand.
If it makes you feel better, he still scored more than Harry Grant.
Oh, fuck me. Yeah, it does make me feel a little bit better, to be fair. But yeah, I might have to swap my Tom Starling and Blake Brayley hooker 1, hooker 2 status next week. I don't know. I feel like Blake Brayley's never going to score under 50 and then he goes and gets a 38. So yeah, he's real stiff in that one.
Jamie Humphries is a certified fantasy goat. And I'll tell you what, Supercoach owner's been bailed out fucking hard. 78 from him is the most unconvincing 78 I've ever seen. But shout out to him. I was not keen. I was more keen on Mamazelis, but 78 from Humph, mate. He's such a hot boy.
Yep. He's one of the best fantasy buys, that's for sure. I got in him after round 1 this year. That played out quite nicely considering scores change in fantasy after 1 round. But yeah, obviously everybody waited. He goes up 90,500 this week and we'll have a negative 13 negative 27 break even next week. So yeah, the cash will keep rolling in for you there.
If you didn't buy last week, like you can't touch him this week. Like we're getting closer and closer to a Latrell tone.
Yeah. Yeah, he loses the goal kicking there. But I don't think he loses his spot, though. He's been too good. No. Most expensive New South Wales Cup purchase in history for Lewis Dodd, sadly.
We talk about the downfall of Ruben Cotter. Can we talk about the downfall of Keon Coleman-Tungi? He was like the demigod at 13 last year.
I mean, so obviously in the preseason he's trained on the edge exclusively. He also lost, I think, anywhere reports between 10 to 15 kilos in the preseason. So he's definitely leaned up. It's visible that he's leaned up, and he hasn't trained in the middle at all. Probably because they were leaning into Tallis Duncan and obviously having Lachlan Hubner there as well. They didn't need Keon in the 13, and then obviously with Cam Murray, but then Cam Murray went down. So I mean, he's never really been. He's a 60 guy on the edge. Yeah. But he's just not that 75 guy that we were hoping to have in the 13. Yeah, sad. But anyway, only 49 in this one. And to be fair, I don't think he actually did much. So 49 is not too bad for a guy who was basically non-existent.
Shout out to the Cappuccino. Played the game of his life last week and went back to being Sean Kepi, as we know. Mate, let's move into the Dolphins and the Tigers. I just want to offer a formal apology to Jarrell Skelton. Earlier in the week, I posted, I tweeted, I'm not much of a religious man, but maybe the Catholics were onto something with this reincarnation thing. And I had a photo of Taniela Tuiaki and Jarrell Skelton, and fuck me, I might have nailed that one with the injury front.
Yes, you absolutely
Also,
sadly,
Tigers are back, baby. We're
Tigers
so
are
back.
Yes. I'm going to buy my grand final tickets. I'm just waiting for them. Waiting for us to lose one more game in like round 11. And then the price will come down just a tad, and then we'll go on our run to finish the year. But let's talk about the Tigers first. Obviously, a good win from them. Sania Taruva continues to score tries, mate. Another 2 for him on the right wing.
Is he just Jesse Arthurs?
Legit. He is the Jesse Arthurs on the right side for the Tigers. Like, they just love feeding that right side. And to be fair, like, obviously, Skelton, it looks like the kicks are targeting the left side, but they're actually shifting the ball right. It looks like Appy's got a bit of a tendency to go right there too, rather than left, which is great for guys like Seyfarth, who came back to life this week.
We'll talk about
Probably
him.
Should talk about him. 73 with a try and a line break. Nice short, close to the line.
He's not the best hooker in the league, and this isn't a piss take.
I mean, He does things that a lot of other hookers don't.
He's probably the most crafty.
Yeah, that's probably a better word to describe him. I definitely wouldn't call him the best hooker in the league, but yeah, definitely I think the most creative close to the line. Again, he was outstanding with a 96, a try assist, and that his ability to go by himself when everybody thought that we were going to take the field goal to go up by 1 and ice the game like that is just something that only people like Appy and Harry Grant can probably do in this league. So shout out to Appy. He was huge.
And Prime Damien Cook. Let's put some respect on Prime Damien Cook.
And Prime Damien Cook. That's fair.
Mate, we'll talk about Seyfarth, but I just want to talk about our boy once again. 65 minutes, like clockwork, 1 offload, 3 tackle busts. 17 hit ups, 39 tackles. Terrell May is just that guy.
Yep. If it
wasn't for Payne Haas, he'd be on the fish and chip wrapper week in, week out.
Yeah, he definitely would be. I think, look, everybody who watches this podcast owns Terrell May, so we don't have to worry about telling anybody to buy him, I would like to think. Yeah. What about selling Jerome Luai, though? Can you get around that? Because, I mean, he was Matrix's sell last week for good reason, another 20 here. Passing the eye test and doing things with the ball, and obviously he's really influential for this Tigers unit, but it's just not converting to Supercoach points. And you've made a formal apology to Tom Sangster, so I've heard.
Yes. Yeah, I did. I was very fortunate to be invited onto the Supercoach official podcast, and Tom Sangster was saying how he's not keen on Jerome Luai. And I was like, what do you mean? He averaged 75 at halfback for Panthers. Of course you have to be keen. But Matt Sangster was right. I did formally apologize to Tom Sangster. But look, he is the Cooper Cronk of Supercoach right now. You know,
feels like it.
So influential, but just doing absolutely nothing. And look, I think he might be a fantastic buy for 320k come around 13 when we decide to work out how to actually fucking attack properly. So, I'm definitely off Jerome Luai. I don't know. It's a sliding doors moment, isn't it, mate? Like, you and I were so keen all preseason, and then I don't know. We just woke up on the wrong side of the bed one morning, and we're just like, you know what? I'm just not going to go with him.
And then, no, it was more so we didn't see him in the trials, so we didn't get a look at what this could all look like, and I think that saved us from not going with him. Because if we got a look and he looked okay, I would have probably ran the gauntlet on Luai. But shout out, as we mentioned, Tom Sangster, shout out to Sangster for captaining Cleary and having his captain drop out of his team and have no captain this week. So yeah, that he's putting the flex position. He's sacrificing himself to put the flex position to the ultimate test this week. So
that's for the content.
Yeah, that's right.
Let's chat the Alex the Goat Seyfarth, mate. He I don't think this try is like an anomaly. I was at Parramatta last week watching us decimate the Parramatta Eels, and they ran a very similar play last week, but they went at the back, and Seyfarth was wide open, like he went through untouched, but they went at the back this time, and they did it in round 1 as well. So I think it's a play where they'll go short, they'll try and isolate the sort of the A defender. In this case, it was Nikorima. So I don't think it's an anomaly, but shout out to him, 73 points with a try, doing what we sort of paid him to do, scoring 50 points BP, and then a try. So the gravy train continues, mate. I was going to sell him for Matty Nicholson, but I'll be looking for other means.
Yes, and there will be plenty of other means with all of the dead players that I have in my team this week and next. So, yeah, sad, but we're going to have to move a few of these guys on. And honestly, I might even get to a point next week where I keep a couple of these injured guys in my squad to maximize positions next week. So, that might be something we have to consider. But, yeah, Tigers all round good. Nice to be a fan, and I'll continue to wear a Tigers jersey every time on the podcast if we get a win.
Also, just want to highlight how good is Fanua Bolo. I feel like he is going, just from a footy standpoint, he's doing what Terrell May does, but just not getting the highlights. Lockie Galvin, 50 points, had the try assist, line break assist. I mentioned him before as sort of a buy, maybe for Metcalf. He was very close to scoring a try as well. Is he a guy that interests you, or are you just sort of off him?
Oh, yeah, not really.
No,
I don't know. I feel like I've been set on my trades all week, and that's the way I'm going. I haven't really considered anything else outside of it.
Jarrell Skelton, if you've got no fires to put out, pretty clear sell. The initial reports were for me, the Tigers are more at a hamstring. Luke Lauali'i could be a guy to definitely watch, but most likely it'll be Charlie Staines, which makes me very, very sad. Let's move on to the Titans up against the Knights, mate. This is when I tipped 6 from 6, and I thought, fuck, I'm on here. And
do you want to talk about the Finns, or you just want to skip them?
Oh, sorry. Sure.
I mean, there's really not much to talk about with the Finns. I mean, I think their draw fucking gets real tough from here, though. So that's probably why I'm just not even thinking about them at the moment. Like Tom Gilbert with the 47 we saw in game one. He's come back down to earth now after that first little game where he had a million tackles in a game that was wet. So, yeah, I think we can probably look at anywhere between maybe 40, 45 to 53 as a bit of a normal score for him. So would you trade him? There's a couple of questions in the chat around, would you trade on Gilbert now to get on someone like a Nicholson?
I wouldn't trade for Nicholson. I would trade for Tino, though.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like I think
Tino's a must next week.
I think Nicholson's a little bit sideways. You'll make a little bit of cash on Matty, but I think it's a touch sideways because Matty is like even as his biggest fan, he's a 42 to 43 BP kind of guy with some occasional upside. So I wouldn't be moving Gilbert to him, but I definitely would be moving Gilbert to Tino. But yeah, not a whole lot to talk about here, mate. Like a couple of irrelevant players, like Platt scored a 55. Like his days as an option are kind of done with him playing on the edge. Asako with a 30. As an owner, I'm probably holding for 2 more weeks. Plays the Broncos at Suncorp and then plays the Titans at Seabus. And then I'll probably move off as they move into Penrith, the Storm, the Raiders in Canberra, the Roosters. So yeah, probably move off those guys. But not a whole lot else to talk about, mate. The Hamiso. Kind of sucks.
Yeah, no good, sadly. Can we talk about who is good? Isaiah Katoa. He did this last year. And remember, he did this last year. He started off red hot and then he crashed back down to earth. For me, he looks like he's taken the next step this year. Like last year, I wasn't overly convinced. And obviously, he did come back to earth a little bit. But fuck, he just looks like he's taken full control of this team this year. He hasn't kind of sat back and let Cody Nikorima do too much. Obviously, he's not. I can't buy him at this point, but he is definitely a guy I'll be watching and hoping he does well, just from a footy standpoint, because he looks the goods.
Yeah, he was my unofficial my guy. We didn't have my guys last season, but he was like my unofficial my guy. So shout out to him. Let's move on to the Titans and the Knights. We'll talk about the Knights, mate. 6 points for them. Bradman Best with 109, which definitely means Greg Marju didn't score any points, which is confirmed. Thomas Kant, 88. We'll talk on him in a second. Adam Elliott with a 61 boost for Elliott, but that's really about it, mate. Kalen Ponga, 45. Bailed out last moment. This could have been 20 points. Got the try assist, got the line break assist, got the goal, but it was a bad night for KP.
Is it just, I don't know whether it was just me. Maybe I was obviously watching him very closely as my captain this week. And I'm sure many others were as well. He looked really passive and disinterested. I don't know whether it was just me or whether I was maybe being a little bit too hard on him because I wanted him to do more. But
didn't you hear last week? Last week in the interview, he said he was happy. Of course he's going to.
That's fine. You can be as happy as you want. Be as happy as you want. That's fine. But it just, I don't know. It just felt like he did a lot of first receiver palm off work. He definitely didn't take on the line anywhere near as much as what I would expect. He took 10 hit ups or 10 runs. I think, in the previous weeks he's had more than that. So I don't know.
Are you saying that he had a big night on Cavill Avenue the previous night?
No, never. I'm not insinuating anything at all.
What I mean, clubs? Not Showgirls. Showgirls is there is Showgirls. Yeah, Showgirls. What else is around there? I don't know. It's been a long time since I've ventured past Cavill Avenue at 1 o'clock in the morning. But yeah, definitely a bad night for him. If you captained him, I think you got to be fucking pretty happy with the 45 because it could have been 20, like genuinely.
100%. You know what I'm even happier about though? I was tossing up on buying Greg Marju this week and copping the buy next week and going, he's just that good. He's getting 80s and then he put up a 38. Couldn't be happier with I think it was like a -9 break even or some shit like that. So that played out beautifully for us both. So
it looks like Marzu is going to go up at 30K with a break even to 56 next week or week after, mate. Fucking that's the best thing. That's the best case scenario for you and I.
100%, absolutely. And look, if you went early on him, sure, you can have the cash, and he'll be a guy that's going to definitely come up from that score. 38 is way unders on what we expect him to average this year. So yeah, but you're just unlucky this week going a bit early if you did. But if you've got him, obviously, you keep him. He'll definitely get back to the norm.
We'll talk about the top end. Talk about Thomas Kant. Or Kant, I believe it's pronounced. 274K. Scored an 88. Pretty much scored like 65 in BP. The concern is KPP coming back. I don't know. Some people in Newcastle were messaging me telling me that they saw KPP in a hand brace. So I'm like, oh, if there's smoke, there's fire, maybe. But
KPP, it's hard not to look at rumours like that after we saw that our friend Ruben Garrick was going to be out this weekend. I don't know.
Shout out to my boy NRL Phantom. Another L. Anyway, moving on. Fuck him. Thomas Kant, 88 points. So 65 in BP. KPP supposedly coming back in not next week. Not the week after next, the week after that. So Kant might only get 1 week in the sun. But if this KPP injury is somewhat believable, then sure. I don't think Adam Elliott played fantastic in the middle. But Tyson Frizzell seems to be training there all preseason, has the ability. I don't know. I'm going to give it a watch, but he's definitely a guy that I'm sort of semi-interested in with the news that Dylan Lucas is out for, 6 weeks?
6 weeks, yeah. Look, you can never say no to a guy who's sub 300K and is putting up scores like that in 80 minutes. And obviously no try there as well. Just one line break, one try contribution, 46 tackles, 18 hit-ups. That's what you want to see from a, sub 300K guy.
Can you talk about how good Jaden Campbell is, how good Bo Firma is, and how good Tino is? My bladder is about to explode. Give me 30 seconds.
You're fine. I must admit, the Titans are an interesting team. We know that they're going to score points, and I think we look at the score in this game. They scored 26 and they put 26 on the Knights. It wasn't the attack that surprised me; it was actually defensively how good they were. But Jaden Campbell, 117. 1 try, 2 try assists, 1 line break, 2 line break assists, 5 goals. I'd be very surprised if we're not talking about Jaden Campbell averaging 70 plus at the end of the season, because he did it last year. But for me, I don't know. I have to make a decision on whether I'm going to buy him or whether I'm going to get Pappy next week. And I think that the hard thing to work out here is, why would I not take Pappenhausen that's goal kicking on a better team cheaper with a better draw? The Titans draw actually isn't too bad, though. If we bring it up on the screen, it's not actually that shabby. So if we look at where are they? Gold Coast Titans right up the top there. So they obviously just played Newcastle. They got the Roosters, who obviously have been very hot and cold. They've got then the Dolphins, the Dragons, the Canberra Raiders. So the draw's not too shabby. And then they've got the Cowboys, who are orange in this graphic, but they're definitely not orange anymore. They'd be a very dark green matchup, I think, this week into round 9. They've got the Bulldogs at Magic Round. So look, I can't blame anybody for going and having a look at Jaden Campbell next week. I think it's just, what's the trade-off? Are you going to have to forego a Tino? Are you going to have to forego a Pappy? Even a Nicholson or someone else that's going to get out of price range? For me, I think I can wait a week on Campbell, just knowing at the price how expensive he is, and see if he can keep this stuff up. But yeah, I'm very interested. What about you?
Yeah, I think with the 62 break even, we can wait. And it's an okay matchup, but so does Metcalf. I think the obvious move is Metcalf to Jaden Campbell. But for me, it's I'm very happy to wait one more week. I've got more pressing issues in Tino and Matty Nicholson, and then one of Lomax or Pappenhausen or even Gutho, depending on where I go. But Jaden Campbell is definitely a guy that I'm eyeing off in round 5.
Yeah, agreed. Tino is a guy I am eyeing off next week as a near must.
I'm so lucky he only got 61. He was on 27 after 20 minutes. He went off, mate. He went off for 4 minutes of game time. He was off and then back on 4 minutes later on the clock. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? But Tank sort of ran out a little bit. I mean, he scored 105 last week with a try. So BP down ever so slightly, but this was a sort of a dominant game where BP wasn't overly needed. So he's still a guy that I need to have, mate. And Stack the Pack is very much back.
Yep, agreed. Keanu Keeney also really good this week, 68. He was a bit of a fullback pod that I put up in our fullback episode. I like him as a player. I think he's got a Supercoach friendly game too. It's just a matter of, whether he can keep up this kind of 70 plus type style of fullback. And I think he can.
When it's bad with Keeney. He does have a 96 break even this week, so it's something that we can wait on. But if he does plummet in cash this week against the Roosters at Allianz, we're looking at the Dolphins into the Dragons, into the Raiders up at Seabass, into the Cowboys, into the Dogs at Suncorp, into the Knights, into the Raiders at GAO, then the bye in 12. So he's a guy, at the moment, I imagine a lot of us don't actually have 3-gun fullback, or even probably 2 decent fullback with Iongi there. So he's a guy that, that we could be picking up and putting in fullback for that nice little run.
Yeah, 100%. I'm very keen. Very keen. There's a lot of these Titans guys are very tempting at the moment. I think it's Tino. Obviously, Pappy's going to be hard to pass up next week. And then I'll play around with what I want to do with my third trade, whether I want to try and get Nicholson or whether I want to look elsewhere. But David Fafita, 56 off the bench this time with 55 minutes as well. So you can feel a bit better about that, but he's still going to lose some money. Hopefully he continues to lose us some money and we can pick him up in the low 600s.
Did you check Firmwell's away?
No.
Man, he's been unreal. He was great in round 1. He was great again in round 2. Scored a try, but still putting up like 56, 57 BP. If you've got Lucas in your center wing, I think he's a great buy.
Yeah, I mean, it's a like-for-like kind of player, isn't it? Like the same positioning, you can keep that duel alive if you need to, because that Dylan Lucas duel helped me make a couple of trades early as well. Like last week when I did my first boost, I shoved Lucas down. So, you can play around with that again. I don't think he's going to let you down. He's not going to score poorly. And he's back on the left edge, which I don't know whether I love that or not, but it seems like he's enjoying it. So can't argue with that. With an 80, it's whether he can keep it up.
Yeah, and I think he's come back from his ACL great. It's like now his second year back. So shout out to him. Not a whole. I mean, I guess we can chat Bruno. We can chat the Prince of Palmy. 2 weeks in a row, it sort of faltered a little bit. Like now coming into a break even of 107. Are you jumping off if you started?
Look, probably. Only because I've got him in fantasy at the moment, but he's a wing fullback. But I think he scored like fucking 11 today or something in fantasy. Yeah, so that was tough.
I sold him for Memezelis just so I could fund Barnett to Haas. I think that'd be 150 points. So very, very happy with that. But in Supercoach, I think he's in a very similar boat to Luai. I would probably jump off.
It's 6 missed tackles and 2 penalties conceded in this game. That obviously tanked him. 18 tackles, six hit ups. Just you want to see him running the ball a little bit more. I just don't see that attacking threat from him. And this is very, very clearly Jaden Campbell's team. It's not AJ Brimson's team. So Campbell's the one I'm targeting out of the halves if I'm looking at the Titans half.
That's fair, mate. Let's move on to Sunday. The Eels 8, Dogs 16. I can't work out if this was a really good game or a poo slinger. So it might be one of those ones where I'm just got no opinion. But we do see Zach Lomax with an 82. Mate, fuck, he 30-something. I think he had 30 hit-ups. He put up similar numbers last week. He was unreal. The Eels look to be somewhat okay, not great, but they're relying on Lomax pretty heavily. They do play Manly at 4 Pines and then into the Dragons, Raiders, Tigers, and then the bye. So probably a decent little 4-week stretch there for Lomax. He is a guy that I'm kind of looking at. I mean, even after the bye, they had the bye in round 8, but then the Sharks into the Dolphins, Knights, Seagulls at Combank, and then the Panthers into the Dogs again at a core. He's a guy that I'm somewhat considering too, because I just think the base is there. There's been no attack for him. When the attack does come, I think he'll really flourish. Does have a break even of 74 and will lose about 30K this week.
How the turntables?
No. He's still inferior to my boy Kaeliro. But I just think with the goal kicking, he's putting up these numbers with Parramatta being so dog shit in attack. Surely it has to improve, and he's probably much more of an option. I guess maybe after that round 8 bye, because we expect Moses to be back in round 9. But he's looked really good, man. His base is through the roof, which is something that really excites you and I.
Yep, 100%. 31 runs, 5 tackles, a couple of missed tackles as well.
What's
for the most part, though?
What's going on? He's attacking on the centers and defending on the wing. What are we doing?
Yeah, there was a couple of bad reads on the wing there from him too today. I don't know. I don't understand the role where he's attacking at center. I'd just leave him on the wing, personally. That'd be fucking great for everybody, because then I'd jump on. I'd have no qualms or no problems jumping on. And I'm still interested. I just don't know whether I can prioritize a move like that when I've already got, Tino and Pappy to get. But yeah, I can't argue. I'm never going to talk anyone out of getting Lomax. I'll high on him. Everybody knows I'm high on him this year. That hasn't changed. Yeah. I mean, hey, what did he put up last week? 70 odd, 82 this week. I mean, look, I don't know whether he can keep up 82, but if he's going to be going low 70s, there's every chance he's in the top 2, top 3. So
yeah, top 2, top 3. He's not competing with the true centering one, who we'll talk on next game, who I was so high on, and yet didn't start with. So we'll
Sad.
touch on him. But yeah, mate, the biggest of sads. Penn City 71. Dill Brown 64.
Doing fuck all.
Are we crazy?
I mean, he's going to be safe. And we've said that like from day one, he's going to be safe. And we know that he averages more without Moses. Obviously, Eels' win percentage isn't exactly pretty without Moses, as Dylan Brown as the main half. But yeah, 1 try assist today, 2 line break assists today, forced dropout, try contribution, 15 tackles. That's actually down on his tackle numbers as well. Normally, Dylan Brown's a 25, 28 tackles per game guy. So, you know, the fact that his tackles are down in this game and he still hit 64 shows us that he's still the guy in this team. And maybe Dean Hawkins coming in the 7 has actually maybe allowed or freed him up to get back to doing what he does best, which is, you know, what he did when Moses was out last year. So, look, I'm never going to talk anybody out of buying Brown either. I just think maybe you'd probably go Munster on a better team, especially in the lead up to Origin. Then you could flip to Brown.
Thank fuck Jermaine Hopgood learnt how to offload this week.
That's what he's been missing, really, isn't it?
Is he back?
I don't know whether I'd say he's back. If he was back, he would have scored 75 in BP in this game. But
he's playing so fuck all minutes. Like Jack Williams played 75 minutes this game, and Hopgood played 57. That's the concerning thing for me. And
can we talk about the fact that Jack Williams was also horrible in this game today? Like people have talked him up like something chronic in the preseason, and a lot of people that are close to the Eels said he had one of the best preseasons at the club. Yeah. No good today. No
3 missed tackles, 1 penalty conceded, 1 error. Did get through a fair bit of work. Scored 55, but mate, the minutes are a concern for me. I'm hoping that like they ease him back with this back injury that he had in the preseason. I think I've seen like enough. I've seen like, you know, you see in the TV shows all the time, you know, like a patient's on life support, but all of a sudden there's like a finger waggle. I think that was me with Hopgood today. Like I've seen some life. I'm like, all right, we might be back on. It also has nothing to do with the fact I've got 47 injuries to fucking contend with this week. So
Jermaine Hopgood is the perfect player to not trade and hold because you actually just can't. And that's probably the way my team looks next week. He was on the chopping block even this week until
another one in this game as well that we'll fucking touch on that probably can't be traded despite that. But for the Eels, mate, Isaiah Yongi with a 54. Somehow, in some miracle, this kid's going to make 60K and he has a 14 break even next week. Hallelujah. He found some attack. Shout out to him. Sean Lane was not good. Either was Katoga. Parramatta are just not good at all. Moving into the Dogs, Bronson Jerry with a 75. Bally Hayward with a 64. Max King with a 56. Tells you everything you need to know about this game. Is there anyone else apart from Preston to talk about? Probably not. Oh, I mean, shout out to Daniel Saluka-Fafita, who scored a try with 2 tackle busts. So a 31-point play and scored 46 points. Shout out to him. Let's talk about Jacob Preston, mate. He scored 55 points. I'm just trying to check if he's going to be owed anything. 2 no offloads, 2 tackle busts. So probably what it says on the tin for Presto. If it wasn't for all his injuries, mate, I'm probably off.
I might still find a way to move off, if I'm honest. Like, yeah, I mean, the question becomes, do I hold Preston or do I hold Hopgood? Because I've got both.
He has a 66 break even next week. So it's not like he's going to lose 18K this week, but 66 break even
next week.
It's not the end of the world, is it?
No. I think, look, you could hold both of the Hopgood and Preston. You know, it's hard when you've got guys that are genuine contenders for buy of the week next week in that position. So it's, you know, you've got to trade someone to get these guys with low break evens that are must haves. And I think, yeah, sadly, Preston might be the victim of just not getting any ball and becoming a tackle bot, sadly.
Can we give a big shout out to Tilly Chipanua? After his 100 points in round 1, he now faces an 82 break even in round 4. So if you bought him for the cash grab, all of 23K, well done to you. But, mate, yeah, this game didn't have much to talk about. Reid Mahoney back to scoring 31 points in 80 minutes. Remember how I said, like, I wouldn't sell Reid Mahoney for Thomas Darling? Yeah, fuck that.
You would now. Yep.
He is.
Absolutely.
He is so gone. In the last game of the round, mate, I was 7 from 7 heading into this game. No turbo. Raiders flying. Didn't account for Corey Horsburgh just fucking tanking the Raiders team at all. I didn't account for Ruben Garrick now being a dad. And you keep telling me when you have kids that like it all goes down south. For him, it was just like, it went fucking better. 160 points in a 40-12 win for Manly at 4 points.
I never, if my wife is watching, I never said that. I love our kids. But no, it's look, obviously it's motivated Garrick. He's pretty stoked about it. Good on him, as well. Fucking how's the timing? And the rock the cradle celebration after he scored his first try was pretty cool. So full credit to him. He was awesome. Yeah, but he, obviously he had the kid yesterday, so someone didn't get that news. But thankfully we had him. And sorry, when I say we, I had him.
I wish he didn't play.
Yes. A few people traded Garrick out this week, sadly. So, I mean, hopefully it wasn't off the back of false news. Hopefully you just made that decision not liking Garrick as a play. But, look, he was fucking awesome. 160 points. He's that guy that goes big.
I saw a lot of I saw a lot of Garrick to sub this week, which was a net negative of 136 points.
I mean, look, Saab's been awesome as well and still makes money at 24, but yeah, you don't get the points, sadly. But I mean, DCE was good in this game, 79 with 3 try assists, only 1 line break assist, so a couple of tries off kicks. Hamali Olakawatu again coming out and reminding us that he isn't the guy that you saw last week, and he's definitely going to be that kind of 65 plus guy.
Olakawatu scores well without turbo. It's almost like the stats tell us that.
Yep, 82 points for him. So he was good. And Jake Simpkin, no one's really going to worry about him. Ethan Bullymore, by the week next week, is that right? 2 tries, 79 points in 44 minutes. What a gun.
Must have. I was thinking, obviously, shout out to Taniela Paseka. Season's over, unfortunately for him.
Yeah,
my initial thoughts were, hey, is CSO Takiyaho a buy? But no, that didn't materialize.
I'd say Toff Sipley just comes in to replace Paseka, just a maybe wish or team you version of him, and
like for like.
That'll do the job, I would assume. But look, I mean, Manly have the Eels next week. Do you feel as good? Seeing the Eels actually be able to function as a football side today was positive. But in saying that, I'm still very, very nervous about Tom Trbojevic being a certain starter, as per Jason Riles.
I'll be watching it behind my lounge.
I might not even watch, if I'm honest. Maybe I'll just trade Hopgood out, get off my Eels asset. Oh, I've got Iongi as well. Can't really get rid of him yet. I might just not watch.
Yeah, that's fair. Shout out to Molten Podcast, friend of the show, Hudson Young. 80 points for him. It's funny, we have 405 people in here. I reckon maybe 5 people understand that reference.
I would say so. We've got a few OGs that have been here since the start, but yeah, there's definitely
Molten fame. Trey Mooney with a 73. Tom Starling, 53 points in 52 minutes. What a hook tour. I mean, fuck, hook 1 if you got Harry Grant.
Yeah, Blake Bravery is letting me down with his lack of try assists, apparently. So, look, I mean, everybody got Tom Starling because he had the negative 58 break even or whatever. He's going to make probably what's the numbers, 90K, 80K?
Let's have a quick gander. So next week you'll have a minus 19 break even and make 91K this week. So shout out to him.
That's hot. Yep, love that. And you know what? Tom Starling could be, I'm assuming everybody used the duel of Sandon Smith to get Tom Starling in at hooker, Sandon Smith down to halfback too. And what I think could happen is Tom Starling could end up being either your hooker 2, if you want to keep him that way for the rest of the season, or he could be the perfect stepping stone to your second halfback gun via that Sandon Smith duel that just goes back up to hooker. So you got the best of both worlds there. Isn't Sandon Smith coming in clutch for us?
Oh, mate, how good. Who would have thought a hooker halfback duel was the play?
Yeah.
Shout out to him. What else happened in this game? Not a whole lot. I'll tell you what, bad day to be KO Weeks. He was not having a good one.
Bad year to be KO Weeks, to be fair.
Corey Horsburgh, 48 with a sin bin, so 56. I'm sure people will say, oh, he would have scored 63 if he played. He still played something like 56 minutes.
56 minutes, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he's playing many more minutes. So mid-50s for Corey. Shout out to him. Great, but definitely tanked my tips. And I was 7 from 7 this game, and he decided to fuck it up. Matty Nicholson, 41. I've seen enough. He's in.
Yeah, I mean, they had no attack, no ball, fuck all ball pretty much most of the game. They just got bent over by Manly. So, he's a great option next week. He'll be negative 33 break even, I think he'll have next week. So that's, if he goes and gets, I'd say that's his floor, 41 to 45 points in BP over the last couple of weeks. Yeah. Any sort of attack, you're going to see him upwards of 60, 70 points. So, take the money.
I think his Super League numbers translated to about 43 BP in Supercoach from what I was looking at in the preseason. So, and has the attacking upside as we saw last week. Shout out to Morgan Smithies with the 12-pointer. What a fall from grace he's had.
22 minutes as well.
Yeah,
Fuck all minutes.
Remember how he was playing like 80 minutes every week last year, and we were in love with the 50 points, and now it's just all downhill. Savilio Tamale, mate, 21. This was my concern. I think the attack definitely masked over the I'm not going to say fraudulent base, but I think the 12 tackle bust in round 1 and the try last week really did put paper over the cracks for him. He's a fine hold, but he's not a guy that I can basically ever play.
I still don't agree with you on this, but obviously this game, it's shown that he's not a lock of a pick. He's not a guy that you can comfortably play every week like we thought. But in saying that, I think we're not going to see the Raiders get bent over like this very often this year. I think defensively they're a much better team than this.
I look at your centre pairings of Seb Chris and Matt Timoko, and they both definitely have the broken pass buttons on their controllers. That's my only concern.
Oh, yeah, no, I agree. In saying that, I think we often see the cutout ball on the left edge. I think that every chance that when they get that right, and I think we're going to see Tamale score some tries. I mean, he had 3 tackle breaks and an offload in this game as well. Just obviously nothing else because they had fuck all ball and didn't use their edges.
In weeks where I'm down 5 or 6 players, I'll play him, but I'm not setting up my team to be I need Samuel Tamale as a reserve. So, mate, that's the round done. I guess everyone's asking us in the comments. They probably can't see it with this format. That's the wrong one. This is why I don't run the show. 1,047 for myself. I was on track for the backwards hat until Ruben Garrick came in clutch for you.
Yeah, 11:30 for me. Pre-updates, which
we want to buy clown wigs. I think we make this a thing. With Maddie back, I think we all go to Spotlight. We all 3 of us buy a clown wig and a nose. Has to be both combinations.
I'm in.
And the top scorer gets the backwards hat. The middle scorer, which seems to be me, gets just the stock standard. And the low scorer gets the clown wig and the clown nose. I think we have to be in that.
And what I'm going to do to make sure that Matrix has to wear this clown wig and this clown, because he gets back Monday night from his holiday, so he'll be on the show on Tuesday, and then obviously it'll
be a Sunday night thing. Tuesday we have to keep faith, we have to keep some dignity, but Sunday night I think it's going to be a Sunday tradition.
Yeah, I like that. That's going to be good fun. I've wasted my 2 wins this year, so I'm going to get caught with the clown wig guaranteed.
I haven't gone yet, so I've been middle of the pack all 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Because you were the cheater in round 1, and it's been Matty the last 2 weeks, and I've just been, just bobbing and weaving, mate, just bobbing and weaving.
That's it. Just keeping yourself alive there. The best thing about being in the middle is that no one really pays too much attention to what you're doing. It's just like at work. You don't want to be the best guy because that means that you have more responsibility coming your way, and you don't want to be the shitter.
Exactly. You in your performance review, you want to be meets expectations. Yep,
that's it. Hard, honest worker.
I'm not about this. Exceeds expectations or performance review. I'm just all about being the 7. I'm the Alex Seyfarth at work, mate.
Actually, yeah, fair call. What? So people are calling for your head in the first 2 weeks, and then now you're good.
They compare me to some other mid-ranger called Tom Gilbert and think he's fucking far superior.
Yeah. People traded Tom Gilbert for Seyfarth. That's what they did. Yeah. Apparently, Smithies had a head knock as well. Actually, in the chat.
Yes, I did notice that. I think he was having some headaches or concussion-like symptoms at halftime. So now that you do mention it, it did tick my memory.
I didn't get a chance to watch the second half when you've got a kid who refuses to go to bed. So that's my life, sadly, around 7 to 8 o'clock. And fucking get rid of the 6:15 p.m. Sunday game, please. When does it go back? Daylight saving, it goes back to 2 and 4 o'clock, right? Fuck, I can't wait for that.
Yeah, what are we doing? Are we still recording at 8:30?
Yeah, probably. Only because it's nearly impossible for me to get my kid to bed before 8 o'clock. So we'll going to have to put up with 8:30 p.m. streams, but I'm sure everybody will turn up regardless, right?
I'm a professional fantasy player now, mate. Into the top 1K in NRL fantasy. So you'll catch me on Insight's newest podcast, NRL fantasy review and preview.
Yes. Good. Fuck, you're going to have a big quota of podcasts to do every single week. You're going to be a busy man.
Already flat out. How'd you go? How'd you go across the boards?
Different formats. What did I do? I think I got low 800s in fantasy. I shit the bed this week in fantasy because I didn't captain Payne Haas. I captain Terrell May, and he was still fine. I think he got 70.
It's just not 100.
It's just not 100. Yeah, that's right. But again, I still actually picked my best player, aside from Ruben Garrick, who got 90 for me in fantasy. So I finished on 802, and I went up about 5,000 in rank. I'm sitting 24,000th in fantasy at the moment.
Nice.
Dream Team, I don't even know. I barely check it. Dream Team is the game that I play where if I don't want to make a trade or don't have the balls to make a trade in Supercoach, I'll make it on Dream Team. 900.
Good.
Actually, I did all right. 910 this week.
Nice.
Captain on May.
You picked me. I had 907, but I had the captaincy on Ty Munro, who didn't play. But Payne Haas was my vice captain, so that one worked out well. What a fortunate time of events, mate, that I captained Ty Munro the week he didn't play. How convenient.
Yeah, that is a shame. You should have. So what you can do is you can follow NRL Phantom, and he'll let you know if players are out or in, and that'll really help you.
Should have captained Robbie Garrick then. No, 907 of me in Dream Team and 960 in fantasy, which I think I'm ranked like 400th in the week in fantasy. So it was not a bad week.
Good week for you.
Yeah, I keep hearing you'll put these rankings up of all three formats, and I'm slowly waiting for it. So
it's coming. I promise. I've been busy.
No, that's gonna be everything, guys. Under an hour and 20, which is the first for a Sunday.
Yeah. There's plenty to talk about this week with lots of big scores, but hopefully.
Yeah. Thanks to us this week. If your captain is your lowest scorer, your VC doesn't kick in. No. So your lowest score is ×2, which is fucking grim.
Yeah, that's rough. But hopefully, guys, you didn't sell Garrick.
Yeah, to SC Spy, who apparently did sell Garrick.
Oh, brutal.
Oof.
Okay. Well,
Yuck.
that hurts.
Fortunately for the SC Spy.
But hopefully everybody in here held Garrick and enjoyed the points. And even if you didn't own him, he's going to be an option for you moving forward.
If you didn't own him, you didn't sell him. That's always a positive.
We're all about, finding the silver lining here at Inside NRL. So, hopefully you guys had good weeks. There's some good scores in the chat. We'll be back, guys, for the Tuesday Q&A podcast for our subscribers. So if you want to become a subscriber, the link's in the description below. Less than $10 a month to get access to us, the WhatsApp, the articles, and the Q&A podcast exclusively to you every Tuesday night at 8:30 p.m. Otherwise, we'll be back for the Wednesday preview show for round 4. Plenty to talk about there as well. And hopefully we wake up to some green arrows. Catch you then.